Hello, here we are again, episode 2. Welcome back to the Big Green Wall versus Little C. I'm Garry Wall. If you haven't seen the first episode, this is about me fighting cancer, but it's helping everybody else, hopefully, with the journey and sharing the journey that I'm on.
And I'm Wendy. I'm the Macmillan Information and Support Lead at Northampton General Hospital, who gets the privilege to talk to Garry every month and develop this podcast.
We have decided that today should be about fatigue because fatigue is very, very important. And it's almost like the silent, it's a silent predator, to be fair. And I think I like to share how I get through my fatigue.
Yeah, we chose this topic because we know a lot of people experience fatigue, don't they, when they're living with a cancer diagnosis or they've finished treatment. And we were just saying before the podcast, it's underrated and misunderstood. So it's not like a normal tiredness, is it? It's relentless. And it's hard to explain. But Garry, in your own words, can you explain what fatigue is?
What I feel fatigue is. Basically, fatigue for me is it's almost like a tiredness that I don't know that when it's going to hit me. So I think I've managed my expectations of fatigue really well, only purely to the fact that I know that I can't do certain things. For an example, I know you just asked me to what my meaning of fatigue is, but it's almost when you see people on the phone for hours and hours and they've got the phone up against their ear. I can't do that purely to the fact that my body aches, my arm aches, my wrist aches, my hand ache. So I'm forever on my phone and holding the phone round about my waist area. That is one sign of fatigue that you're not going to notice, or obviously the public don't notice. I literally sit down, and if I stop doing something, I can fall asleep within seconds, and my eyes close, and I have no idea what's just happened. It's almost like my eyes closed for 30 seconds, and I couldn't tell you where that 30 seconds has gone. So to be fair, I had no idea before I left, obviously the hospital and my daycare nurses. They told me a little bit about fatigue and how I should be aware of it, but I didn't expect it to hit me as much as it does. I used to do the gardens. I used to be a landscape gardener. I've come from the forces background. Anyone that's done the forces, we used to we do a certain amount of miles and you've got a time to do it. It's either a pass or fail at the end of it. Crikey, I wouldn't even be able to do 200 meters now without failing. I can't do a set of stairs without being out of breath. Sometimes I climb the stairs on my bum. Sometimes I come down the staircase on my bum. That to me is a really bad day. But obviously people don't see that. Going for a walk, I can't do a walk. I can't walk up a hill. My local pub is literally 400 yards and it's a little bit downhill and it's a bit of uphill. I cannot do that in a wonder. That takes me 20 minutes. And then when I get there, I'm just burnt out. I'll sit there and I'm sweating, or I get the dizziness. So to be fair, not being aware of what fatigue was, but managing it my way and expecting how to hit it, that's pretty much, I know my limitations. To me, fatigue is just part of my daily, it is just part of being my normal daily. It is what it is, to be fair.
Yeah, no, you did answer it in the fact that, like you say, it can come about without you knowing about it. That intensity can just fall upon you on a day-to-day basis. It's there all the time. Some people will say, well, just get a couple of good night's sleeps and you'll be all right. And it's not like that, is it?
No, not at all. A good night's sleep for anybody is going to bed, watching the news, 10:30, turning the telly off, going around, doing your chores, making sure your electric's off, all your stuff, going up to bed, maybe in bed for 11 o'clock. Whoever reads or go on the phones or the laptops, they have half an hour, then they drift off and they wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, start the normal work. That to me was day in, day out. That's how I used to rock and roll. Not no more. I'm literally. So I take my meds at 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night, and I have to set my alarm on my phone pretty much it goes off at both 8 o'clock, 2000 hours. And my nighttime starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I know between 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock, I've already started to dip. My body's dipping. So I know that if I've planned to go out, I need to be back. I need to be almost back at home, knowing that I need to be in a safe place, to be honest. So I pretty much plan my day to be back in the house for 5 o'clock. Anything after 5 o'clock, I know I'm going to struggle, and I know then I'm putting myself at risk purely to the fact that tomorrow's going to be written off. So by 5 o'clock, my body is definitely going into, it wants to go to sleep. I'll try and do as many little things as pot around as much as I can until maybe 7 o'clock, where then I'll have something to eat. But at 8 o'clock, if I put the telly on at 8:05, I won't be able to watch a film. I can't watch anything that's long because it's almost like I get hypnotized. That telly will literally make my eyes close. Like, there is no 8:30 in my life or 8:45, unless it's I'm really lucky. To be fair, it's my body shuts off, my brain shuts off, and it's no fault of mine. I literally go into, it just takes me into sleep, and that obviously is the fatigue part of it. I'll have a little doze, and then maybe I call it a microwave sleep. So then I'll find myself munching. I brought some stuff with me because just to show you how I literally fight my evening. I've got a sweet tooth. I like things sweet, but I often have a yogurt to keep me awake up until sort of 10:30, or I'll sit and eat sweets one at a time. So if I'm watching a film, I'll sit there and just eat sweets just to try and keep myself awake. Come 10:30, definitely my body's ready to go, and I'll go upstairs. And then when I go to bed, I don't lay down like normal people, because obviously I suffer and it's all my midriff, and that's where the pain and the uncomfortableness is. I literally build my pillows up, and it's almost like an extended armchair in my bed, and I'll sleep sitting up, and I'll sleep. So it's not so much sleep then; it's almost like a rest. And at 1:21, and I don't know it's 1:21, but at 21 minutes past 1, it's almost like my body clock is awake, and I cannot break. I cannot break. It's almost like it's an alarm clock in my body where it wants my paracetamols. I wake up at 1:21, and then I just find myself watching a documentary. I'm very educated now, by the way, because my body is awake from 1:30 in the morning through till 5 o'clock or 5:30. I hear the birds, I see the birds, I see the sun coming up at this time of year. But then my body goes back into lapse around about 6 o'clock, and my alarm goes off at 8 o'clock where I take my meds. I'll take my meds and have 15, 20 minutes dozing, and then a cup of coffee is almost like me kickstarting my day. And that cup of coffee is my, right, here we go. If I don't have my cup of coffee, it's not my wake up call. And it literally is taking my time. I can't rush to get dressed. Sometimes I wake up and I can't feel my thumbs or my fingers, my pins and needles in my hands, the pains in my legs. And if people are suffering the same as me, this is where I said in the last episode, this is the bit that makes it awful, because this is the time where you just want to almost close your eyes and just stay in bed and not even care, don't care about brushing teeth or having a wash or any of that. But this is where I fight like hell to get out of my bed, to make sure that I am going to be doing something today. I don't like sitting in the house. I hate sitting in the house. I hate not driving. But there is days where it's that punishing that I have to sit in the house and do nothing. But I stay away from the telly. I can't put the telly on because it hypnotizes me. It seriously sends me to sleep. And then then I deal with my day, and I do little bits. I've got my own little hobbies. I try and create my own little hobbies that don't knacker me out or wear me out. But literally, that is my day. If someone will say to me, "Oh, what are we doing this weekend?" And I'm like, every day's a weekend. I don't work. I live off benefits. I deal with. It's nice just to be able to wake up, to be honest, and feel that I'm here again, ready to go for another day. So, and that is it. And obviously make the best of the time that I've got. And it doesn't, I don't want it to sound like doom and gloom, but literally that is what I do. That is how my body wants to react. I went to a wedding at the weekend. I took Thursday and Friday off from doing nothing just to be able to be at the church, to sit in the church from 12:30 through till 1:45, 2 o'clock, to go down and be able to be awake for the speeches from 3 until 5 o'clock. But at 5 o'clock, I had to apologise to the bride and groom because that was it already. My body's, I'm having a chat with 8 other people at the table, and I'm falling asleep while I'm chatting. And that is the fatigue, that is the silent, invisible monster that takes over.
Yeah, and you've said some really good points. And I know when we've had conversations before, it sounds like you do some really good stuff to manage fatigue that other people would benefit from. So firstly, you recognise fatigue as a thing, that it's not just something that you're trying to resist and then get frustrated. I know you've talked before about having emotions and getting frustrated, but you recognise it as a thing. And then what you do then is try and manage it.
Yeah.
And that's what some people don't do, because they don't realize it is a thing. It's just that relentless feeling of tiredness and then the emotions that come with it. And sometimes people do take to the bed, or they just go down a downward spiral with regards to their mood and that. But you've actually done what we would talk about to patients in the, so we use the 4 Ps, which you've explained beautifully. So it's about planning, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like you say, what your day consists of and what your body is able to do. So you plan accordingly, whether that's taking rest, whether it's going to bed at a certain time, or setting your alarm for your meds. Prioritizing is key, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What you need to do, those absolute musts, which is like getting up, washing, dressing, feeding, and then things that could be put off, you can put off, but making sure you do stuff that's important and nourishing you. So like you say, hobbies and things, and that's really important, isn't it? And giving yourself permission to rest is so important, which a lot of people don't do. They fight it, they resist it, and it just persists.
Your 4 Ps, when I was in the forces, it was planning, preparation, prevents poor performance. So at the end of the day, it's similar, and it's almost like it was what we did before we did any battle or go out or set of orders. So it is important that we do plan and prep. I've upset a couple of people in the last 24 hours purely to the fact that because I've had a rough 48 hours. So mine, because it's all in my abdomen and I get top blocks when I eat, and I have to take laxative both ends to make me go. And that's something that I do day in, day out. And I administer that. And I have to sometimes administer more than what I should do. It gets frustrating when you don't go. It gets more frustrating when you do go. And I'm going to say this, and I don't think that it's rude for saying it, or I don't want to paint a picture of being uncouth. But when you get diarrhea and sickness, I have the diarrhea without the sickness. I get the dizziness, sitting on the toilet and feeling like you're going through the motions because there's nothing left, because my body's rotten and it's getting rid of the rot, and I deal with that. That is the bit that's what makes me angry. And then all of a sudden that I find myself repeating myself, which when someone says to me, "Oh, you told me that," or "You repeated yourself," that's actually frustrating. I'm not a very good patient. I don't like hospitals. I don't like going into crowded places. I have to be here. I have to come in and get my bloods. I have to be in a crowded place. I have to sit and listen to people moaning about that they've got a sore toe, or people generally moan about their normal daily life. You sit and listen to anybody, and they're always moaning or being negative about something, or how hot it is, or oh god. I mean, we've got nice weather now, and people are moaning about that it's hot. Then it's little moans like that I'm dealing with, being hot and cold every single day, shaking when I'm going to the toilet, hot and cold shakes. It is a lot to take on board, and it's a lot to manage. And yes, I've got medicine there to do it, but this is part of having the cancer. Is relentless. It literally it takes over if you allow it to. And fatigue is one of the biggest things. It obviously makes you angry. I do find it quite. I find it really difficult when someone says to me, "Oh, stop being angry," because I don't realise that I am. And it's not because I'm sitting here effing and blinding or swearing or being nasty. It's because I'm saying things that aren't right, or I've said it in the wrong way, or it's been perceived the wrong way. And there's nothing, and that's the worst. And then it gets more frustrating. So sometimes it's better to be left on your own and just to chill on your own and manage it.
Yeah, how do you do that then? How?
Well, I can't really. Normally I'd go out. I'd go out and pound myself, or beast myself, or take myself to the gym, or go out for a run. I can't do any of that. The most that I've run at the moment is run the bath. You know what I mean? Uh, so I have got my own. I've got my own hobby. I'd like to set up my own podcast, if you like, of a day-to-day living, almost combating cancer, if you like. It's something that I've thought about. It's something that I really want to go ahead and do. People have said maybe you should write a book. I like to present myself. I like to share how I'm feeling. I think it would be really important to do something like that. I've been buying stuff on eBay really, really, really cheap and then selling it. Obviously, people that are in my situation and circumstances, we know the benefits that we get, which completely is, we can cover that another day, but it's not a lot considering what you've done or where I am, 54, being and served 12 years in the forces. I've done quite a lot, and to be fair, to be paid what I'm getting paid now is pretty pitiful, but at least it's something. But ends have got to meet. So I've now do a lot of research. As I said, between 21 minutes past 1 in the morning, I'll sit and I'll watch documentaries, watch podcasts, learn a lot about what's going on, almost like the contemporary world, what's going on in the contemporary world. Never used to watch the news. I'm more interested in what's going on elsewhere now. I try and educate myself further. I try and have a better outlook of what's going on in the world. I sit and watch, believe it or not, about the Bible, different chapters of the Bible. I find that quite interesting. I go right back to 3,000 years before Christ, when it had all the pharaohs. Look at all the conspiracy stuff. That's what I do with my time between 1:30 and 5 o'clock in the morning. During the day, I need a hobby. My hands are rubbish. Sometimes I can't even cut my own meat. So I needed something to do with my hands. So basically now I've got a living room full, I say full, and if the council are watching, please don't charge me any more council tax. It's not an atrium. It's just me. Basically, I've got a mannequin who now is the Mandalorian, the Baby G, and little thing that I've done. I've created almost a podcast, and I've built it, but built it to my expectations. So I've been painting. I'm keeping myself busy by doing painting, some artwork. I bought a load of craft stuff, and I've made clothing, and what I've done, I've almost created my own little podcast, if you like. So that's kept me busy. I've bought and sold stuff from the internet, and then I buy it, I put it on, and then I resell it, and that's quite interesting. And again, that gives me then. So there's sometimes I have no parcels to post. There's sometimes I've got 3 or 4 parcels to post. But again, because of the fatigue, every day's got its delivery day. But that again is setting myself a target. So if I sell something on Facebook, then it'll be a Thursday, it'll go out or go straight out in the post. Vinting, I do a lot on that. And I buy clothes and I'll sell clothes. But it's the odd £1 or £2 here and there, but 20 times that makes it worthwhile. And that's my spending money. And that's my hobby, to be fair. I'm going down to the Armed Forces weekend this weekend. Shout out to all the ex-forces vets, all you people out there. Hello, hope you're doing well. Sorry, I had to get that in. Serving soldiers, men, ladies, families, well done. So it's Armed Forces Day, and I want to raise money for charity. I want to raise money for a friend of mine's got he's got the Veterans and Serving Soldiers Hotel in Lowestoft. So I'll come up with an idea to raise money for that. So I've been keeping myself busy for that. So I do try and keep my hand in lots of things where I used to be as when I run my business. But now I'm running my own life, if you like. So it's almost like planning my day, developing my own day, trying to make a few bob, but trying to enjoy it at the same time without overkill. I can't go out and build walls. I can't go out and mow lawns. I can't go out and cut hedges. All this stuff that I used to be able to do. And when you think I can't even lift my arm above my head without the aches and pains, I can do it, and I'll dearly help anybody. but then it's me that's got to suffer for the 2 or 3 hours afterwards or the next day. And please, I will help anybody shift or lift, and I'll do my best to do what I always done, but then they don't see me suffer afterwards.
Yeah.
Or they don't see me sit down at 5 o'clock thinking, wow, I shouldn't have done that. I've got my morphine with me at all times, just in case I do something. I mean, at some time I've got to change a wheel. If I'm a member of the AA, at the end of the day, I had to be, I never used to be, but if I get a punch now, I can't do it myself. I've got to rely on the M coming out to do it. It's whereas where I used to think of do things on my own. For example, a friend of mine came over and put a bit of decoration up in the living room for me, asked me to go and get a chair out of the kitchen so he could stand on. When you can't even pick your chair up and move your chair, that's fatigue that you realise, you think, wow, you know what I mean? It's all in your muscles. I've got no muscles, I've got no bulk, it's all wasted away. It's something that I've noticed, and people notice it, but it's something that when you can't pick up a chair, I used to get embarrassed about it. I don't now. And to be fair, it is what it is. I just, you know what I mean? It is literally, if I can't pick the chair up, I can't pick the chair up. If I decide that I need someone to cut the meat for me, if I go out for a meal, which it doesn't often happen, but they'll have to cut the meat for me.
It sounds like there's a lot of adapting, isn't there?
Yeah,
You've
totally.
adapted your hobbies and
adapted my life.
and your approach to things and your response, I suppose, to your thoughts and feelings around what you should or could have been doing or have been doing in the past, and thinking, actually, instead of giving myself a hard time, it's about accepting that there are going to be stuff that absolutely. You can't do.
I mean, when we say a hard time, right, okay, so we've all got bedding, we've all got sheets on the bed, we've all got pillowcases, we've all got duvet covers, and there's nothing worse, right? Even as a grown man trying to put a duvet cover on, there's people can do it, flick it inside out, put it on like you're a magician. I don't know how people can do that, and people can just, I don't know how to do it. My when I put a duvet cover on, my God, I get lost in it anyway. Or I put it on and I can't find the corner. Sometimes when I do it, I'm like, you actually feel like punching the sky because you've done it right first time. But having this and having sore arms and fingers, see, even trying to put a duvet cover on, it is a massive job. But then again, what to do? Or ring somebody up and say, "Oh, come and help me do this." Then I don't want that. I get to this age where I want to be able to ask people, but I never do. I'm quite a proud person. I just try and do stuff myself, but it's little things like that takes it out of you, massively takes it out of you. Just changing a bed, and I know there's people out there that probably never changed a bed in their life. Try it; it's great. So it's a good bit of exercise. But
I mean, we talked briefly, didn't we, before we started the podcast, about boom and bust, which you are aware of, and do without actually, you haven't been formally told about it.
No.
And it's something we teach on the Hope course, is recognizing that potentially you could go into that cycle of boom and bust. So on boom days, you wake up and you feel more energized than you have done probably for a few days. You try and do all the stuff that you've put off in that day. So you'll meet a friend, you'll sort out kitchen cupboards, you'll do X, Y, and Z. And then you go through a period of where you're just so fatigued and get to a point where you just physically can't do anything, and the low mood happens. And then the cycle gets repeated again. And what we know is that, yes, there's going to be times where you have boom days when you've got important days, but it's trying to break that cycle so you're not doing that boom and then bust cycle, that you keep each day at an even keel.
Yeah, that's why I try and do my day. To be fair, my day really starts around about 8:30. I take my meds, I chill out until 8:30. I don't rush around to get ready. I'll go down and have a cup of coffee, and I'll chill out having a coffee, and that's almost like my kickstart to the day. 11 o'clock's my good time. I feel I've got my strength. I'm confidence mentors. I'm a happy me. From 11 through to 1, 2 o'clock is brewing. That's the best time of the day for me. And then I know, and as I said, it is a downward slope. And do manage my expectations. I actually don't have I don't go out and over exceed. On Saturday, I'm going to, because it's the Armed Forces Day. So basically, just to use this as an example, I've got a 2.5 hour journey to get down there. I'll do it. I won't do it in 2.5 hours. I'll plan my break on the way down there. I'm not necessarily going to be looking out for places to stop or planning my journey. But mentally, I've already done that. I know where I can go. I know where I can stop. I know that I'm not going to do it. I know that sat down for 2.5 hours is going to cane my ass. So I'm going to have to get up and walk it off. So literally, I'm going to have to get out and walk about, get back in, and then, you know what I mean, probably get out and have a fag. I don't smoke. Right, so I need my fresh air, get out of bed, and then get back in, and then carry on with the next part of the journey. So that's going to take it out of me. So I plan to leave at 11 o'clock because that's in my best part of the day. I'm going to get there for 2:30, no later than that. And then I've got an hour and a half, literally sorting out what the plan is for Friday, for Saturday. And then come 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, then I'll just be in me time, knowing that on Saturday, I need to be able to get up and be the happy me. There's a mobility scooter ready for me, which I've accepted. I'll go on a mobility scooter. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. It's a 1/2 mile walk from the hotel to the actual showground where they're going to be going. So I'm going to be on a mobility scooter all day long. I don't mind that. If you had said to me 6 months ago, I'm going to put you in a mobility scooter, I would say, right, shoot me now. Because I just felt, whoa, hold on. 54-year-old in a mobility scooter looking like I do. You know what I mean? I don't look ill, but I don't particularly want to be walking knowing that I'm not going to be able to get back. I will not be able to walk back. Fact. So I'm going to be in a mobility scooter. So I've already set my mind for that. And I know that on Saturday evening, when the Chelsea pensioners will be standing saluting the King, I won't be there for that because I'll be in my bed. I would like to be there for it, but I already know that I'm not going to be there for it. And again, that's my boom, and that's the doom part of the boom. But there's only so much I can manage. And again, but if I was to do the whole day and I was to be there with a glass of port at 9 o'clock and do the salute with the King, Sunday's written off for me. Sunday's just, and I've got to get back. I haven't got to get back. There's nothing, but I need to make a 2.5 hour journey back on my own. And it'd be so much easier if I don't burn myself out on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be booking a room for an extra 24 hours in the hotel. Not that it matters to Ash, but it matters to me. Yeah, so it does. It does. And I suppose that is the frustrating part of the illness that people don't see. That people don't. I mean, it must be great to jump in the car and go down to the beach and sit on the beach, play about on the beach, go in the sea. God, man, I can't even plan to do stuff like that because to do it would be it'd be nice to go to the beach. I'd have to do it on a day, get there. It's almost like planning a holiday. The thought of walking through an airport, I know you've got a mobility scooter to go on that everyone can do. The thought of sitting in an aircraft for 3 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, depending on where you're going, wow, and then not being able to get up. And then when you get there, it's almost like you have to spend a whole day traveling. Then it's going to knock you about on the second day. And then it's quite a lot to. So fair play to the people that are sufferers and that can get up and they can go and they can. And I know there's lots of people on there that are in remission. Fair play to them. Use the strength, use it, use what you've got, but don't burn yourself out. But obviously people that have got this, it is a little bit more difficult. I'd sooner be here and have a longer time here than burn myself out and shorten my time here, not knowing how long. It might be 3 months, it might be 6 months. I don't know how long I've got this. I hope I've got a while, but I'd rather make the best of it and manage myself to be here a little bit longer than do everything or burn myself out and not be here at the end of the month. And that sounds morbid, but it is what it is.
It's how you manage it.
It is how I manage it. Totally. Yeah.
So you bought a bag along. I'm intrigued to know what's in the bag.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So this is to tell us a bit about why you brought the bag in.
Right. Okay. So basically, everywhere I go, I take my bag with me. It's almost like a survival bag. I need it because of my meds. I need it because I need water, especially in this weather. We should have water anyway. But right, because of the way I am and everything's unpredictable. So I'm sat here quite comfortable at the moment, because I've had my 2 days of prep to come here.
Mhm.
But the thing is, had I not prepped, then I'd have been shooting out to the toilet, would have been cutting every 5 seconds. I'd be back in here feeling uncomfortable. I'll be sweating horrendously. I nearly said something else. I'll be sweating, and then I'd feel totally uncomfortable. So already, I take my bag with me everywhere I go, because if we're going to go out and have a meal, 9 times out of 10, they haven't got cushions. If you're going to go out in the beer garden, they haven't got cushions. You're sat on a bench. So the first thing I've got, it's mad that people look at me like I'm gone out, but I've got my cushions. And at the end of the day, I've got my cushions to sit on. And at the end of the day, people think, oh, he must be mad, but it's not, because I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And again, that takes me past my pain threshold, so I can do that extra hour. Right. So I've got my cushions. Obviously, I've got my bottles of water.
Mhm.
Right, this is the bit that people get me. Go your toilet rolls. I have to have my toilet rolls, not so much for here, but if you're going to go out to a pub, you don't know if you're going to go into a pub, and it's one of them ones where you pull and you get one little bit of paper. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So toilet rolls. Right, this is what people see me with. I've got these around my house. I've got them in all my bathrooms, and they're the hygiene hand wipes. And at the end of the day, when I go into a pub, without sounding rude or horrible, I've got to be as sterile as I possibly can, because I've only got half the immune system of what I did have. Again, being in crowded places, being in the hospitals, wearing a face mask when you go to Boots the chemist, walking down the hospital high street, people still look at you gone out, but it's for me, it's for my safety. Why do people visit the hospital? They're here because they're poorly.
Mhm.
So to be fair, it's not the greatest place to be. So I do obviously have my face mask, and I'm sterilizing my hands all the time.
Mhm.
And it's only because when you're sitting down and you're on a chair, you don't know who's been on that chair. You don't know who's been in the toilet. You don't know who's touched the door. So yeah, it might be a little bit of overkill, but I'm sorry, guys. This is how I rock. I am proper clean all the time.
Yeah.
Right. I did say I got my med box, and at the end of the day, right, I've got patches. So I've got a patch on now, and there's nothing worse than sat having a sweat, and if the patch comes off, then I haven't got any pain relief. But I've always got patches with me. Oops. And then I've got my meds that I take daily anyway. But I've also got my little rocket box, which is paracetamols and morphine.
Mhm.
Um, so, and to be fair, I could be it could be in Asda's. I could do a flaky in Asda. I could be doing my shopping and have a bit of a situation where I need help. All right, I don't take my bag into Asda's, but I've got my card with me. I've got my oncology card, my details on, and I've also got my meds with me. So on in my little day pack. But then I've got my sweets, and that's not to be sitting. That's my social. Because when I do feel myself going to sleep, if I have something sweet,
Mhm.
then I've got another 10 minutes to me. So I've got my sweets. Wait for it. Yes, obviously I've got my spare pants, because I know it sounds terrible, but you do get caught out, and there's
Mhm.
nothing worse. And there isn't nothing worse. But I'm a proud person, but there's no shame in it. You know what I mean? If it happens, it happens. Try and make a joke of it. It's happened to me, but I do try and make a joke of it. But yeah, you're right. It's horrible to think that that's happened, but I'm sorry to say it, but it happens.
Mhm.
But so pretty much that's my
Yeah.
that's my survival.
So you take this with you if you're going somewhere, like you say, like to a pub or a social event.
I thought that was a black tie. I was just I didn't put that in. And then obviously there's one there. There's nothing like a good old Guinness. A little bit of iron. But
Brilliant.
if yeah, wherever I go, I've got it. That bag is totally that it doesn't get touched unless I need it. But if I need it, I'll replenish it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I take my meds out every day because I need them in the house. But my bag's all made up, and then as I leave my house, I'll take the bag with me. Um, but again, you said the 4 Ps part of the planning, and to be fair, is prevention. and it's the preventative part of my planning is having the bag. And without the bag, guaranteed you, if I went out for a meal and had an accident and didn't have my bag, then I've got to somehow get from A to B in a mess. But that's my little way of masking. It's almost like my own smoke screen. Thank you very much. Walk into the pub with a bag, walk out with my bag.
But it's part of planning.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's a necessity.
Yeah,
it is a necessity. And it's, yeah, as I said, it's just but it's part of my life now. And if you're not doing it, anyone that if this helps to do it, just do it. Buy yourself a little day sack. And do you know what? I've got to say, you have to learn to say no. And there's nothing worse than saying no. There's nothing, it's horrible. Oh, can we just go out and paint the shed? Can we just go and paint the door? Can we just go and, oh, it'd be nice if you could help me do the garden, cut the grass. It'd be nice if you could water my hanging baskets. Stuff like that. It'd be nice to do all of that, but you just can't, and it's no excuse. But seriously, trying to water a hanging basket with your arm in the air with the hose pipe and lifting your arm up, you can manage 2 or 3 and you can do it, but you can't do 6 or 7, and I just can't do it. I can't do it.
And it is really important to set boundaries, isn't it? And look after yourself.
Well, this is why they take your bloods and everything as well, and all my monthly tests with the doctor. And that's it now. I can feel my voice is going now, purely to the fact that I can feel myself dripping now. And I'll do that, not because I want to end this, is because I actually feel myself now. I'm beginning to, and I can't help that.
Yeah.
And apologies if I fall asleep. It's not because I'm boring myself. It's because I am. But I can literally feel myself going now. And that is only purely because I've just sat here talking and that is the invisible part of it.
Yeah.
And it is pretty nasty. It is pretty horrible. But do you know what? The awareness part of it, if I can share this and it helps anybody whatsoever, because if you are sat there watching this and you do feel that you are and you haven't got the energy, then you're damn right. I'm sharing your pain. And for those people that are frustrated with the patients, or you're frustrated with your mum or your dad, or you're frustrated with your father, your son or your daughter, because they haven't got that get up and go like they used to get. Oh man, bear with them. Just have that little bit of understanding, because it is hard yakka. It is hard yakka, and trying to keep everyone happy. And I've always tried to keep everybody happy, and it's sometimes really, really impossible. And it does get relentless, and it is frustrating. And I'm saying sorry now. I am sorry to the people that I've upset, but it's not because it's intended. It's purely to the fact that sometimes it is me dealing with me, and I'm not a needy person. I'm not shouting out for anyone's help. It is just, unfortunately, the way it takes over. I think learning to adapt is the worst and the hardest thing. So I'll just say, look, you've got it. If you've been diagnosed with it, there's nothing you can do with it apart from take your medication, listen to the people that give you the guidance, listen to the Macmillan nurses, take the support of the district nurses, take your medication, do as you're told, rest your body, do as your body tells you to do, listen to your body within, and just go with the flow. Anyone that's been recently diagnosed, then there's lots and lots of help out there. There's the Macmillan team, there's Macmillan staff, there's the centre here that can help you out. Wow, there's so much on offer. And again, and look for help, ask questions, ask for the guidance. Don't be scared to ask for help. Take the distraction away of being poorly, and do something positive. And if you can make somebody else feel good, and make somebody else feel loved, and make somebody else feel positive, then you've done your job. You know what I mean? Make yourself feel good about everything.
And what about accepting help as well? Because that's what some people struggle with as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm the world's worst. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't, because I've got lots of people around me now, and people are drawn to me. And you know what? Everyone does their bit, and I don't. They know that I'm so grateful what people have done for me. They wouldn't have ever done that before. Oh no, yes they would. Say that again. They would have done it before, but it goes. I'm not as grateful as what I am now. I'm privileged that they're doing it now, to be fair. So that's not sort of taken the wrong way. I've always been grateful of anyone helping me out, but the worst thing is for me is I've always done stuff for people and I can't do that no more. So I'm the world's worst for asking for help, but I'm the first to get on the phone and ask for somebody's advice. If I need a patch putting on because I'm having a bad day and I can't lift my arm up, yes, I'll go and help. I'll ask someone to come round and do it. If I have to wait an hour or 2 hours, but it doesn't matter because someone's there at the end of the phone and someone's helped me. I think it's important that we do ask people. And again, it is frustrating, and it makes you personally angry because you can't do it yourself. And again, it's something that we've got to deal with. So if you can take the pressure off yourself by asking someone, then yeah, please do it.
Yeah.
But you ask, yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get. So.
And it's nice for people to be asked, isn't it? We
Yeah.
always say, you know, we know what it's like to help other people. So if you're in a position where you need that help, give somebody a chance to do something that makes them feel good.
Oh God, yeah. And you know what? And it makes people feel good. That's the thing. It makes, believe it or not, I actually feel good sat here sharing this. But because I feel now that whilst I'm not able to do my normal stuff, I get a lot from this because it's almost like I'm sharing. I'm helping somebody. If I can help 5 or 6 people that watch this, or just bring a little bit of awareness, or just think, oh crikey, I didn't realise that that's why he was being like that, or she was being like that. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
There's a particular person out there that I won't name, and I will be very careful how I do this, but they'd organised a trip for visiting relations, and it was about a day out here, a day down in London, eating a meal out on this evening and doing that and doing everything else. And they were a sufferer of cancer. And it was only afterwards that person learned how poorly the fatigue side of it, that relation was. Because when the person sat down and said, no, I don't think I'll be able to do it, then it was almost like, oh, you know what, I've booked this, I've spent all the money on this, you know, it's just a waste of money. But that, again, don't be alarmed by somebody that is a cancer sufferer that does say no. And it is purely, again, I'll say it's the silent, invisible, it's the fatigue. It's almost like an electric shock. You don't see electric, you don't feel it until it happens. And when it happens, it's too late. And that's another way, I suppose. And before you know it, it is too late. And that's the fatigue side of it. So I'm sure that there's people out there that can relate to that by just listening to me saying what I've just said. So yeah, go easy. Go easy on the sufferer. They're not being needy. They're just, I think what they're doing is they're hiding their illness quite well and they're coping brilliantly. They are coping brilliantly. There's so many services that I was offered, and it's amazing and it's remarkable how teams come together. I never knew about Macmillan. I had no idea. I'd seen the green and the white. I'd seen people doing the runs. I'd seen people baking cakes. I'd seen people raising money, but I didn't get the Macmillan until I was diagnosed. It's you guys that I think maybe you should explain about what Macmillan could help, because you've got the financial services. There's so many things that you were able to offer me.
Yeah, so we could cover that then in the next
Which
podcast.
would be absolutely brilliant.
So we could talk about all the services available in Northamptonshire and as Macmillan is nationally as well, if that's okay. And
wow,
anything that you've used that you've found interesting, any services or events you've gone to, or info that you've had that you've found interesting?
Yeah, I think so. I actually, yeah, I think that'd be good, because there's been lots have been made to offer to me, and I've never known unless I was told. So maybe we should cover that.
Yeah.
And there is one thing that people that were watching me taking everything out of the bag. I bet one of you must have said, "Oh my God, he's got everything in the bag, bar the kitchen sink." And as it goes, oh, I've actually got, it's for you that said that.
Very
I
good.
have brought the kitchen sink. So until the next time, look forward to catching up with everyone again. See you soon.